Hello all and welcome back. Thank you again for the love and support on the most recent video a couple of days ago. I really do appreciate it. That being said, make sure you are subscribed as there is tons more content coming your way from me about the Hedera ecosystem and the cryptocurrency markets. Things have obviously got really frothy recently, but that is not stopping the Hedera ecosystem from continuing to develop. And we've got key releases coming over the next couple of weeks. So it's not a time to tune out of these markets, particularly if you're very interested in Hedera over the long term. That being said, there is tons of information to cover in today's video. As always, there will be timestamps down beneath if you guys want to move about, but let's kick this off with a market overview. So as I mentioned in the last couple of videos, I did say don't try and time the bottom of some of these markets because the reversal is normally incredibly rapid. And what have we seen over a 24-hour period, albeit not a complete reversal? We have seen a lot of coins pump 10, 15, 20, 30, sometimes even 40, 50% in instances. As we can see at the bottom here, we see Quant has jumped 27%, Hbar has risen 23%, ADA over there at 20%, 𝗟𝗚𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗦 has jumped 22%. A lot of the projects, because they were so massively down, I did mention that these markets do reverse so fast due to the volatility. That being said, obviously they're nowhere near where they were previously. However, if you weren't averaging in whilst these prices were falling, some of you will already be back in profit from this. Where do I think we're going from here? Well, it's going to be completely dependent on what Bitcoin continues to do. If Bitcoin does not hold particular key resistance levels, we may see a further drop to the downside. The equities markets, which I typically look at first to predict or try and hedge where the crypto markets will be going, as they generally drive what happens in the markets, are still not looking great. The fear and greed index as well in general for cryptocurrency is still around a 10. So we're still deep in that extreme fear territory. Obviously a little bit of a lagging indicator here. However, it's the same for equities. If we look at Bitcoin, one of the key resistance areas obviously we want to see held is that $30,000 mark. Previous resistance, obviously, we can see back in July of 2021, but also it's just a very psychological level for Bitcoin in general, obviously a precursor to the markets. As you probably heard on other channels, if we do fall through that $30,000 level and do not close back above it, obviously we fell through earlier on sort of yesterday, but we have sharply risen back up to $30,000. We could fall as low as $19,000, $19,000 to $20,000, which is roughly the all-time high we last saw back in December 2017. So be aware that these markets could again reverse back to the downside. There are no givens at all within the cryptocurrency markets. They are incredibly volatile, and this is why my strategy has always been just to average in. I buy on red days, I sell on green days, and just have that conviction for the long term. That's what majority of these markets are about. And that being said, majority of the money is to be made from these projects in bear markets, which we're still in. Despite the green move towards the upside today, we're still in a bear market. Don't get lulled into a false sense of security that we're now returning immediately to a bull market. We are nowhere near a bull market, even though it may appear so if you compare it to things like equities. So just stay vigilant and stay cautious. I'm still buying those dips when I see them. Obviously not buying anything today. We may see a reversal in the coming days. We'll see how that plays out. Talking about Bitcoin sentiment, some great informational tweets by the Bitcoin archive. So Bitcoin mining in Norway has just been given the green light. El Salvador has also picked an architect, Fernando Romero, for its plan on the Bitcoin city. I've covered that in a recent video. We can also see the Canadian Bitcoin ETF has already bought nearly 7,000 Bitcoins yesterday. The single biggest day purchase since it was listed. Obviously, we've got that Australian ETF listing as well for Bitcoin, the spot one. So that'll be very interesting. And then staking and lending on Bitcoin is now tax-free in Germany after 1 year. The previous, it was 10 years of holding. So majority of these governments and corporations and institutions are still buying. A phrase I've used many times on this channel is the writing is on the wall. Do what they do, not what they say. Everyone is shouting bloody murder, screaming fear across the markets, as well as uncertainty and doubt. And rightly so. It's never nice to see massive drops, but then you see these large institutions buying up thousands of Bitcoin at a time at heavily discounted rates because they know where it's going over the long term. That being said, obviously you need to make sure that you are holding for the long term and you don't get spooked out of the markets. This is where retail tends to get wrecked. You can see that from traditional equities investing. Majority of retail investors lose an awful lot of money because they're trying to trade the swings off the lows and highs, and it just never works. You will not beat these institutional algorithms. That's my 2p worth on the situation. Moving over, just some news around Hedera that I want to jump into. The first one obviously being SaucerSwap. The faucet is now dry. I think it's been dry since the 11th of May, so my predictions were about a day out, however fairly on the money. There is now a new announcement or vote going on over on the SaucerSwap Discord server. So if you guys do hold some 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗥𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗦 NFTs, you can actually vote. So we've got 3 different options that they're looking to do. Option 1, reanimate the faucet bot with 3 million source, open up a channel to all verified members of our Discord server, whether or not they hold 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗥𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗦 NFTs, and every user will be able to pull the same amount of source per window. So if option 1 gets voted in, which I must say is the most popular option at the moment as far as the vote is concerned, all of you, regardless of whether you hold an NFT or not, will actually be able to get some source for free every 8 hours if the windows stay the same. So I will keep you updated on this, because if option 1 wins, all of you should be joining the Discord server to claim source every 8 hours or however many hours they are saying it's free. And obviously the token has a lot of potential into the future. Option 2, obviously keep the 3 million source for giveaways and marketing, split the allocation, source giveaways, and option 1. So mix between the 2. Stay tuned for that and keep up to date with their socials, as there may be some free source for those that don't own an NFT. That being said, some more incredibly bullish news for Hedera in general coming from Lehman. Or regarding the governing council. So excited to announce today that Hedera's governing council member AVERY DENNISON, in a strategic partnership with the 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗡𝗥𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗦 Foundation, will be integrating HCS and HTS into their product cloud platform 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗡𝗥𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗦. Now, 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗡𝗥𝗡𝗡𝗥 was a platform/use case that I mentioned previously. It's the world's leading connected product cloud platform, and will also be leveraging ENV blockchain's Guardian solution for ESG assets built on Hedera, allowing for more effective emission tracking and carbon reduction for many of its customers. I'd like to thank everyone that made this possible, and AVERY DENNISON on its commitment to advancing sustainability in forward-thinking and innovative ways. I cannot wait to see what the road ahead brings. See Mitchell there, Hedera's on fire, let's do this. It definitely is. Here is a Reddit thread talking about this as well. So announced today they will be joining hands with the Hbar Foundation and Hedera Network on sustainability initiatives. That should be ringing alarm bells for a lot of you guys. So you got Dovu, and I've been screaming about ESG and carbon credits for a long time, as it is a severe golden egg effectively in the nest for Hedera. Connected Product Cloud helps transform how brands can meet net zero targets and reduce waste across the supply chain. Obviously incredibly important at the moment, in particular with a lot of supply chain constraints. Hedera's DLT will be integrated into the 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗥𝗡𝗥𝗡 Connected Product Cloud, meaning 𝗟𝗚𝗡 customers will have access to one of the most cost-effective and energy-efficient DLC blockchain platforms. 22 billion items managed by the platform across the apparel, retail, food, and healthcare segments. Leveraging the Hedera services, 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗥𝗡𝗥𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗦 offers brands across a wide range of industries and a platform for more granular carbon accounting, tokenization of their carbon footprint, and the ability to have highly credible carbon reduction tokens to meet net zero emission targets. Obviously, this use case going hand in hand with the Coupon Bureau launching in Walmart and Family Dollar Tree stores, we could see large amounts of transactions hit the Hedera network over the coming months, and these use cases are now beginning to materialize. It's something that I believe Lehman said previously. 95% of the projects in the space may not be around into the future. It's the sort of last remaining 5% with actual use cases will be the ones that survive, Hedera being one of them, particularly with these high profile use cases and partnerships. Great piece of news here, or reshare from Hbar to the moon, talking about a HIP, so Hedera improvement proposal, a native random number generating service coming to Hedera based on HIP 351, proposed by Lehman and LG Electronics. So another governing council member, software engineer 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗥𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗦. Applications that need trusted sources of random number generation are endless, and they definitely are. Random number generation is used in so many different applications you wouldn't even believe. I urge you to do some research on it. It's actually a much bigger deal than it sounds. Hedera is operating on another level. Many apps require pseudo-random number generators, which is actually very hard to do, by the way. Games, lotteries, and traits for NFTs, but it's difficult to prove to a third party that they were generated in a way that the app couldn't influence or control. Hence why I said it was very hard. Trusted random number generation as a service coming soon to Hedera. Again, a massive use case. They deploy this on Hedera, and then many products may not necessarily leverage the HTS or HTS for their actual product integration, but they may use features such as trusted random number generation as a service, which then does use the HTS and HTS in their products indirectly. So there's just tons of use cases here that are so far outside of the box of what people would normally consider a traditional use case, and it just shows the power of Hedera. It's completely endless. That being said, if we are looking at use cases, obviously we've got the DEXs and DeFi ecosystem. Tangent have just released their roadmap. I urge all of you to go and check this out over on their Twitter account. Obviously, they're releasing more and more information. I'll cover Hederastarter in a minute because they go hand in hand. Of course, they're being incubated by them. In the upcoming period, you'll be able to follow Tango the Ape on his journey as he complete each of the stages shown in the graphical interpretation below. So tons of different stuff here, stages 1 to 8. So stage 1 being a lot of the core infrastructure, landing pages, integration with Hashpack pool page, integration with Flash Wallet, mirror node setup as well for their core development, as well as obviously the docs tests and product features. We then see in stage 2, they start rolling out some more of the product features, yield farming, orders pages, charts. Stage 4, we've got the network overview page and staking pages, and then so on and so forth. And we can see there between stages 4 and 5, we've got these smart contracts. So this is fantastic to see, and this is growing at quite a rate. Actually flicking over, obviously I mentioned this previously, Hederastarter have actually just been featured over on Yahoo Finance in an article. So they announced their IDO as of May the 19th. So we're just 6 days away now from that initial IDO of the upcoming HStart token generation event for Hederastarter, which demonstrates the capabilities of Hederastarter's Launchpad services. Obviously, I mentioned in previous videos, check them out. There's loads here on Hederastarter. Obviously, Connor and the team are legends. Multiple live streams I've done with them as well. HStart token will be the first ever token to launch through an IDO on the Hederastarter platform, the HPAD. First IDO designed specifically to expand the DeFi, GameFi, Metaverse, and dApp capabilities of the growing Hedera Hashgraph ecosystem. I've mentioned so much on this product before. HStart supply 1.5% will be allocated to the public IDO. So that's some of the information for you guys. There'll be tons more information from me on this as it develops. Great retweet here from Ray, from another user, talking about how they hope the Hbar Foundation is getting in touch with all these players in a new dead Luna ecosystem who are in need of a new home. So there's tons of products here. You can see obviously Anchor and other names that you may recognize. Hopefully we're starting to see Hedera and in particular the Hbar Foundation reach out to these developers to potentially migrate some of their projects across to Hedera and leverage a much more secure, sustainable and robust ecosystem than what Luna has experienced. That being said, I wanted to share this funny meme with you as we dive a little bit more into what's actually happened with Luna. I did give fair warning that I did think it was going to zero in my previous videos, and it looks like that's happened. Any of you that have been around in the crypto space for quite a while may remember BitConnect and how that was a massive, massive Ponzi scheme. Funny meme here, obviously pun on his name, BitConnect. That being said, fantastic video here that I will leave down from Nevin Friedman, which was 2 years ago, 2020, talking about algorithmic stablecoins that have no backing, potentially, he didn't want to say the word, basically be Ponzi schemes and be very susceptible to large crashes. He also mentioned Celo in this, in the same breath. So be aware, Celo is obviously another algorithmic coin, and we have no idea whether this potential attack or whatever you want to call it, market demand event, could cause a similar crash to Celo. So be very aware of these algorithmic stablecoins, particularly those that are heavily backed by venture capital, as effectively they want to see a return. Also be aware of projects where you've got leaders that are effectively talking about the price constantly. If any of you guys have been following 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗦 and seen his tweets, he's called people out being poor. He's had a massive ego, and that's obviously been one of the reasons that the project has inevitably failed. He's completely undermined what he should have been building. That being said, if I quickly scroll down, we can see Hedera has done very well here. And I'm just going to quickly cover on what's happening with Hedera in terms of some technical analysis in a second. But if I do search for Luna, never seem to type when I'm on camera. If I do search for Luna, we're now at rank, or it is at rank 250, worth next to absolutely nothing. And one of the key reasons for this is the supply has gone absolutely berserk. If I flick over, the Luna token price is created below 0.001 cents. Funnily enough, that's the Hedera token, the Hedera transaction fee. So Luna is now less than a Hedera transaction fee because the circulating supply has soared above 400 billion. What I want to say here is, if any of you believe that Luna now has the potential to go back up to $100, you're sorely mistaken. The circulating supply has increased astronomically. Here's the circulating supply before this event happened at 350 million. Circulating supply now, as reported by Messari, is 170 billion, with some articles saying the circulating supply is 400 billion. Here's the percentage increase in circulating supply from 7 days ago. 49,000% increase in circulating supply. There is no way on heaven or earth that this token will be going back to any resemblance of its former price. Do not be lulled into that via people's comments and emotions over on Twitter. Majority of them are bag holders. That being said, if you do still hold this token, it's pretty much worthless at this point, and take it as a lesson learned for the future. Anyway, that kind of wraps up this video. Sort of traditional length from what we're used to seeing. Tons of bullish news in here, obviously, for Hedera and the markets in general. Hopefully we continue to see this green across the board, as it's much better to look at than red everywhere, left, right, and center. Until then, make sure you're subscribed, because there's more videos coming in the future. Leave a like if you liked it. Drop a comment if you've got something to say. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.